think Caleb is such a polarizing figure?
I think it is silly to talk about the quarterback in a game where we have on the screen they allowed 52 points. You know what I mean? Like that.
I hear that. But that's really. Well, let me put it this way, because I hear what you're saying. I think for them, for the Bears now, and Bears fans, this season shifts from we're gonna make the playoffs this year and do something to let's just see if Caleb's our guy.
Well, the other thing, I've watched Penix. I would make a bet now that he can play. I've watched J.J. McCarthy to some degree, and it helps that he has Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores, but he'll be able to play. Bo Nix can play. Jaden's a star. Drake May doesn't have a ton of pocket presence, but again, today, he moves the chains. I don't think he's great. I think he needs another year. I mean, that's what they said about Drake May when he came in. He is unrefined, but it is very possible from what I've seen, and it's not close. We're going to have 5 hits and 1 miss, and the number 1 guy is going to be the worst quarterback in the class.
Comparison is the thief of joy, and Bears fans know that better than almost any other fan base. While Caleb Williams limped through his rookie season, every other quarterback from his class took it in turns to look like the next big thing. Not only that, but a quick look around the division will show franchises setting their quarterbacks up for success. Meanwhile, in Chicago, chaos, questioned, and a rookie phenom already facing doubts he hasn't earned. This is just one of many reasons why Caleb hasn't gotten off to the blazing start that many expected, but the truth goes deeper than the box score. Let's find out why nobody respects Caleb Williams and why they are all wrong. The primary challenge when it comes to discussing Caleb Williams' merits and deficiencies is the sheer amount of noise around him. To some, he is an era-defining talent. To others, nothing more than a flamboyant hack who refuses to be coached. It can be difficult to separate his play from his character off the field, but we will certainly give it a go a bit later in this video. For now, we want to look at why a rookie Caleb didn't win as much as most Bears fans would have hoped. To put it simply, you cannot make me believe that Matt Eberflus, a defensive-minded head coach, was ever going to mold a generational quarterbacking talent like Caleb Williams. Not only was it a philosophical mismatch, but Eberflus entered the 2024 season with a 29.4% win rate as a head coach. He failed to improve on that and was out of a job by week 13, providing even more turmoil around the Bears in Caleb's rookie campaign. When Ben Johnson took over in the 2025 offseason, all excuses for Caleb's underperformance were addressed. Even with Keenan Allen departing, the Bears added Luther Burden and Colston Loveland to the receiving corps, while completely retooling their O-line with all-pro, Super Bowl-winning talent like Joe Thuney. Williams now had one of the league's most coveted offensive minds mentoring him. If things went south, it was absolutely on him. But this too was arguably a stylistic mismatch. One of the main reasons that Ben Johnson's scheme flourished in Detroit was Jared Goff's consistency as a pocket passer who can precisely and reliably execute the play calls. Sure, the prospect of Caleb running Johnson's crafty trick plays was alluring, but he would have to get the fundamentals down. That should be automatic for a first overall pick, but it's important to remember the exact type of player the Bears drafted. Let's briefly flash back to the 2024 draft, when debates raged on about which of the class's elite QBs was the best. Caleb was at the top of most people's list, but analyst Louis Riddick gave a prescient warning.
I think there are obviously refinements in terms of the kind of structure you want, or rather the kind of playing personality you want him to have. You want it to be more on time, more in rhythm. You want it to be more ordinary until he needs it to be extraordinary. Because you don't want him to have to live in an environment where the extraordinary becomes common, where it's every single play, it's I've got to be that guy because everything else around me is chaos. Because chaos in the NFL comes with much greater repercussions than chaos in college. Chaos in the NFL means Aaron Donald's hitting you in your neck, and next thing you know, you're over there on the sideline, and you're on IR for the rest of the year. You don't want that kind of chaos. Ask Bryce Young how that kind of chaos felt this year. You don't want that. So and I believe with structure, offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, quarterback room, offensive line, those kind of things that every single quarterback needs Even the great Patrick Mahomes has needed it, he's gotten it, and next thing you know, all that individual talent explodes through the roof, and we're sitting here redefining the position. Could that happen to Caleb? Absolutely. That being said, I think Jaden Daniels...
Not only was that an accurate forecast of his rookie season, as Caleb was the most sacked quarterback in the league in 2024, but this analysis is also crucial in understanding his up and down start under Ben Johnson. Caleb hasn't had to play in structure for most of his career, but in the NFL, you can only get away with that to a very limited extent, as evidenced by his sack total and the underwhelming performances in the first 2 weeks of his time under Ben Johnson. No play epitomized this more than his awful interception in week 2, where Williams tried to play hero ball on 2nd and 32. This isn't an irreconcilable difference though. By week 3, when Caleb was playing in rhythm and delivering the ball to his receivers on time, it shouldn't have come as a surprise that he looked like a substantially better quarterback outside of the early scripted drives. And that is the key for any young quarterback, but especially one that is drafted first overall. You need to give them time. And it's not as if Caleb has played awful since he entered the league. He just hasn't entirely lived up to expectations. Remember, he's only 20 games into a career in which he has been saddled with the chore of saving one of the league's worst run franchises. If we compare Caleb's first 20 starts to, say, Josh Allen's, Caleb's potential looks even scarier. In Josh Allen's first 20 career games, he averaged a passer rating of 74.4, with 3,727 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 19 interceptions, while Caleb's passer rating after 20 starts sits at 90.6, with 4,256 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. I'm not saying Caleb Williams is going to be better than Josh Allen, but rather that it is far too soon to make definitive judgments about the QB's viability in the NFL, especially when you have guys like Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, and Geno Smith who experienced career renaissances long after they were written off. Now, let's address the other major factor in Caleb's general disrespect: nail polish. It's incredible how something so petty has caused such a stir. Even when he was in college, there were calls for him to be disqualified from the Heisman for painting his nails.
We know who you want to win the Heisman, who does win the Heisman.
If it wasn't for some nail polish, I would say Caleb Williams. But talking to a lot of Heisman voters this past week, a lot of people were really rubbed the wrong way about putting the explicit Utah on his finger nails.
First of all, if you're going to put it on your nails, you better win the game.
I don't have a vote. I would still vote for Caleb. I think he's the best player in the country. But there's a lot of people that their feeling is, hey, yes, it goes to the best player. But there's also, how do you carry yourself both on and off the field? To be a Heisman-like guy is more than just going out there and throwing touchdowns. So I think if it's a close vote and he does lose, I guarantee it's because of the damn fingernail polish he put on his hands.
I'm not trying to be disingenuous here. I know it's more the message on the nails than the painting itself, but the ball doesn't lie. Whenever Caleb has put those expletive messages on his nails, such as FND or F Utah, he's lost in big-time games. Everybody loves seeing this kid served some humble pie, and arguably, few have needed it more than him. But it's not as if every time he paints them, there's a belligerent or adversarial motive. For instance, in week 1 of the 2025 season, his nails were done in honor of suicide prevention. He's not just trying to rage bait. This is a tradition that goes back to his time in high school. But according to many in the old guard, like James Harrison, this is intolerable.
I got issues with Caleb too.
Okay. Respectfully.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't know, man. I can't have my quarterback painting his nails, dude. I just you too busy flossing your nails in the first quarter. You couldn't do nothing the next 3. I don't know.
Okay. You think it's his work ethic, his dedication and stuff? Like he worried about too much other stuff?
I'm worried about painting my nails in a football game, bro. What is that going to do for me on the field? I can see taping your fingers. I can see doing all that. You're talking about purely aesthetics, like of your hands, dude.
Yeah. Okay. No, I feel it. I can feel that. I can feel that, Debo.
I'm lost.
He's coming from.
That's my quarterback. Listen, man. I can't.
No.
I can't. I can't.
It's rich for a guy like Harrison, who knows a thing or two about off-field controversy, to have issues with Caleb for painting his nails. That's all it takes to ruin a player for you. Nothing he does on the field, just some nail polish. Apparently this, and tearfully embracing his parents after a loss, make him soft and undeserving of his teammates' respect. But how many quarterbacks have fought through injury, played their hearts out, consistently lost despite that, and proceeded to shed tears, just without the cameras on them? If there's one former player who knows a thing or two about crying and the pressures of carrying a struggling franchise as the first overall pick, it would be Cam Newton, who gave this advice to Caleb.
We don't need no more Cam Newtons. We don't need no more Peyton Mannings or Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady. We need unique players being themselves. And I got news for you. Gen Z is here, and Gen Z is here to stay.
Right.
So whatever you may think that, oh, that ain't football, man, that dude got pink nails. But I guarantee you, if he paint his nails pink, even dye his hair pink, if they win the football games, ain't nobody gonna worry about that shit.
Thank you.
Let's keep the main thing the main thing. Don't get worried about fashion. Like, bro, I have a life outside of football. These are things that I like. I love art. I love, fashion. I love my family. I love doing things that will take my mind off of the daily rigors of the pressures of performing. And you can't judge me. Hell, I don't go to your cubicle. I don't go to your job saying what you can and can't do. Why are you drinking a caramel macchiato? Ain't you counting your calories?
This is at the crux of the issue. If Caleb were winning games, nobody would care. And the reality is that Caleb painting his nails has no tangible effect on his performance. It is a genuine form of self-expression that is primarily geared towards him feeling comfortable and getting in the zone. At the end of the day, this guy is going to be absolutely fine. Primarily because, for all of the doubters out there, the Bears organization is completely and utterly behind Caleb Williams. When Odunze was asked, very pointedly, about his QB's public persona, he spun the question around.
Why do you think Caleb is such a polarizing figure? Why do you think there are such a big part of the sports fan population that seems to root against it?
True. I don't know, man. Y'all gonna have to tell me. Y'all write the stories on that boy, so y'all put all the stuff out there for everybody to read. I don't know. I mean, it comes with the number one pick, I would say. And he's himself at the end of the day. When you're the number one pick and you're yourself, you're gonna get a lot of hate. And that, honestly, it's sad to say that, but that's just kind of how the light that we were put in. In Chicago sports, they're very wanting success and having it now, and they expect a lot from all their sports teams. So we're in that light, and you take the good with the bad. So he gets a lot of hate for those reasons, but he comes in, he works hard every single day, and he's himself. So I appreciate him for that, and I think we're gearing up for a good year.
So, as we said at the start of the video, once you cut through the noise, the pressure to constantly perform in a major market like Chicago, there are encouraging signs of progress on the field. Since he stepped foot in the league, Caleb has had to fundamentally alter the kind of quarterback that he is, only to have things flipped upside down as he lost his head coach just 13 games into his career. If he can finally put it all together this year, which he seems on track to do, the Bears might finally shed the shame of the past few seasons, become a playoff contender. Then, and only then, when his team is no longer a laughingstock, will Caleb Williams receive the kind of respect that his remarkable talent deserves. But what do you think? Is Caleb Williams overhated? Let us know in the comments.